Hello and welcome, I am Deltia from DeltiasGaming.com, back with a Nirncrux and Nirnhoned guide for the Elder Scrolls Online. This guide is going to cover what Nirnhoned and Nirncrux is, how to obtain it, and why to even go after this sought after material. So if you want to know everything there is about Nirncrux, how I find to use it, and also my Nugget Nation friends helping me with this guide, stay tuned, it's going to rock. Alright, so let's get some things straight on Nirncrux and Nirnhoned so you guys know exactly what it is. So first off, Nirncrux is just the actual pieces. They come in two different forms. Potent Nirncrux is for your weapons. It gives you increased spell resistance and spell penetration. This is more so than Sharpen, making it probably the best offensive magical based trait for your weapons that you can possibly get. This is the rarest of the two. Fortified Nirncrux is based on your armor, increases spell resistance by a huge amount. So those are the two things that it comes in. And you find those by nodes in Upper Craglorn, which I'm going to show you in a little bit. So with that being said, here's what it looks like on a piece of gear. Nirnhoned. When you actually apply it to a piece of gear, then it changes the name to Nirnhoned. It's what the trait is. The trait essentially is the 9th trait, allowing you to make the Twiceborn Star set. Twiceborn Star isn't that good, makes you use 2 Mundus Stone. I don't see a whole lot of people using it. But the real reason it's so powerful, Nirnhoned that is because it scales off your entire resistance. Here's what a weapon looks like. So in Nirnhoned, it gives you spell penetration and also spell resistance on your entire setup. So let me show you what this means and exactly how powerful it is. If we take a look at a reinforced piece of gear, ahead, at legendary status, mine gives me 598 armor. At a VR2 one that I found, increases the item's armor value by 15%. So, reinforce only gives you armor based on the item. Nirnhoned gives you it on every single piece of gear that you're wearing. All your spell resistance, it's going to add on top of that 22.5%. That's why Nirnhoned is so powerful. So let's do a little example here. My little guy here, Inferno Nugget, has 10,127 spell resistance. Let's put on one piece of Nirnhoned. It added almost 3,000 spell resistance. Now let's swap to the double weapons. And let's put another piece on. Now look at it. With 2 pieces of Nirnhoned and the full light armor, I almost got 8,000 more spell resistance. Do the math. If you're a medium armor wearer and you have 2 pieces of Nirnhoned, you can almost hit the hard cap for spell resistance, which is roughly around 33,000. That's why Nirnhoned is so valuable. It can only be crafted, making craftable sets insanely valuable, especially in PvP, where Nirnhoned, a lot of people are running around with hard cap spell resistance. Whether they're wearing light armor, medium, or heavy, you can really hit this number very easily. Let's throw something else in. Let's say I were to use my Dragonite ability or the heavy armor ability that gives me that major ward and major spell resistance. Now let's watch. 27,000. And all light armor except 2 pieces of heavy, I'm almost hard capped on spell resistance. Understand why Nirn's so valuable? Okay, so now that's the basic of why you want to get it. I want to show you one more chart here that shows you basically the levels of armor, because the amount of resistance scales basically on the quality of it. So from standard to all the way normal, I'm going to show you that, and then we're going to talk about how to get it, and then tips and tricks I use to farm it fast. Here's my highly sophisticated map of Upper Craglorn, which is the only place you can get Nirncrux currently. So you get it by harvesting nodes in or around this area. The little red lines on the middle is from Destinations add-on, a helpful add-on that shows you the barrier between Upper and Lower Craglorn. So here we are in lovely Upper Craglorn, the only place to get Nirncrux. So there's a couple things you can do to get Nirncrux. A lot of hidden tricks and tips. Get away from me, you VR5. Speaking of which, when can you come into Upper Craglorn? You only need to be VR1 and complete the main story. So you don't have to wait till you're completely endgame to do this. In fact, to get Nirncrux, you don't even need to kill a single person. Though if you do, you might get increased chance. More on that later. This little separation here, destinations like I said before, this is the area where you can farm it. I usually go from east to west, but generally there's a lot of competition in the west. So typically I stay around this area, going from node to node to node. I'm going to show you a farming video where I get 7 minutes it takes me to get my first Nirncrux. So what I mean by this is all you're doing is going to something like this. Potency rune. Anything. And that one pickup gives you a chance of getting Nirn. So it can be for any type of node. Enchanting, woodworking, alchemy, all this stuff. And in fact, there's a really helpful thing here, Keen Eye. This allows you to see those things further and further away. And on my dedicated farmer, I have 3 points into this on every single thing. Now, provisioning obviously doesn't have one, but everything else does. So also on that, this is unconfirmed, but the chance to get Nirn is like 1 in 500, is what speculation says. Also, the chance to get a fortified is much higher than getting a potent for the weapons, like 1 in 4. That's unconfirmed, just speculation. So, you go around farming nodes. Pretty self-explanatory. What's not self-explanatory, and what people forget, is that any node counts. Any node. So, this little water here, picking up this gives you a chance. So don't be selective on exactly what you pick. Pick up everything. Also, a couple handy tricks that not a lot of people think about is anything that has a chance of producing a material that can be gathered has a chance at proccing Nirncrux. So these little guys over here, Walmas, actually have a chance of dropping Nirncrux. Why? Because they drop armor, or they drop Shadow Hide, which can be used for medium armor. So a lot of people will skip all these guys, but you can get some good XP for champion points, meanwhile getting a bunch of Nirn, or getting a chance to. Remember, each one of these guys gives you a chance at getting Nirn. So right here, this is like farming 5 nodes. A lot of people skip these over. So you loot them, Shadow Hide. So I got 2 Shadow Hide and a Martial Knowledge hat. Right there, that Martial Knowledge has to go for 800. So, don't skip these Walmas. I'm telling you, get these. Also, Heavy Sacks. Yep, good old Heavy Sacks. Why would Heavy Sacks give you a chance? Because they have some alchemy, some enchanting stuff in there. They have you a chance to get a Kuda and also potent Nirncrux. So, that's really all you need to know on how to get it. How to get the armor is the next question to actually research. So, if you go in your journals and you go to achievements, I think it's under exploration. And you go to Craglorn. No, not exploration. Yes. Yes, no. Quest. I should have prepared for this. Sorry. Alright. The Craglorn quest. The upper Craglorn quest is what you want to do in order to get this. I think it's the Exalted one. But anyways, you have to complete the upper Craglorn storyline. Only one time per one character, it gives you a drop after completing the Upper Craglorn story, a Nirnhoned item. It could be a staff, it could be a medium chest, it could whatever. You're going to get that for free one time per character, and you can start as early as VR1. That's how people originally got the items and armor to start crafting. Now there's a lot of people in the market that have Nirnhoned, and you can research it. And get those items to start learning yourself. But remember, it takes a lot of time. Because the more items you have researched, the longer it takes to get a Nirncrux one. So for instance, if I open up my AI research grid, my main crafter is King Full Test. And right now, he's learning some Nirncrux stuff. He has 1 day left on it. So I have all the traits but Nirncrux. Now, something you can do that's kind of tricky, costly, but it's really effective to get a piece right away, is give it to someone that doesn't know any. So like Deltia here, or Inferno Nugget, doesn't know any. So I could give it to him, and he could learn it within, 30 minutes. Then recreate one and give it to King Full Test to research. Now basically you're using a lot of mats for that, but if you wanted to have it available right away, that's the best method to do it. So, I know it's a lot of information. In summary, farm the crap out of nodes and do the main story quest. That's going to give you a good chance. Don't skip heavy stacks. Basically, don't skip anything. So I want to show you the video in high speed of me getting the Nirncrux and walk through some tips that I use for getting Nirncrux, setting up my character, and some things you might not think about. Here's a picture I got after looting and farming gathering nodes for 45 minutes. 2 Nirncrux, but look at all these mats. It's so valuable to farm in Upper Craglorn. And here's how I basically do it. I have one dedicated crafter that's my sorcerer. Why the sorcerer? It makes sense. I can use streak, retreating maneuvers, and just buzz around the map and kill really quickly. So I go through the Wamias, I have self-heals, I can do tons of damage, giving me a huge chance to get Nirncrux. I set this character completely up for this. There's some pieces of gear and unique traits you can get that actually increase your movement speed, like the Steed Munda Stone, the Fornorn, pieces of gear that increases your movement speed. You can also do some stamina based builds that get this done fast, but for the Sork it works for me. All I do is streak around using my stamina and magic for movement speed, never skipping a node, and just farming the crap out of stuff. Pretty self-explanatory, right? What isn't self-explanatory is that you need to do your crafting writs. If you have 9 points into tailoring, woodworking, or blacksmithing, you can unlock crafting writs in Upper Craglorn, regardless of level. Once you get those crafting writs, then you spawn a series of nodes that only you can harvest. Also think about using the champion system. Champion system has reduced gathering time, increased movement speed, and then a chance to give you double the yield. Yes, there has been a person that got 2 Nirncrux and 2 Kudas in a heavy sack. Hallelujah effing hallelujah. So also you want to get Keen Eye. That's the passive that allows you to see a bunch of nodes from further distance and set your view distance to max. That way you can see a lot of different things, and I'm always scouting the next node to go to. Last but certainly not least is common sense. If you go around farming Upper Craglorn at 5 p.m. EST, you're not going to have a lot of opportunities. Pick a time, pick a location, pick an area that you scout out that is optimal during your time you play, and then farm the crap out of it. If you spend an hour doing this a day, you will make thousands and thousands of gold. Honestly, I need to do it a lot more. Oops, I sold something because I'm always broke crafting gear. Also, you get the mats that you can decon and use, not decon, but refine and get better and better material. And here is the lovely Nirncrux. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching. 7 minutes, my first Nirncrux. Not bad. 20,000 gold for this gang. It's 7 minutes worth of work. Way more crafting videos to come. Thank you so much for watching.